came to India back, continuing my studies in Chidambaram. And then in 2016 was it you opened the ashram in Vrindavan, and then Guruji had come to Chidambaram during the South India tour, and it was the first time I was meeting Guruji. So I did an entire year of Atma Kriya Yoga, and every single day I would just look at his photos and all of these things, but I did not know who Guruji was, literally, like how he is, how he behaves, how he speaks with people. And during that time, it was also a very trying time. I was going through a lot of depression at that time, and I used to come back from college and I used to make 2 cups of tea, and at that time I don't know that he drinks tea, and I used to talk to him, I used to cry, I used to it used to be so amazing, this relationship through Atma Kriya Yoga that I developed with Guruji. And everything that I used to tell him and cry to him about and complain to him about, because if you ever come to this place in Chidambaram where I used to stay, I stayed on somebody's apartment on the terrace. It was just a studio apartment, and my bed was here, and then the kitchen was adjacent to that, and it was an open place. And on my bed I used to do all of these things, like it wasn't even a bed, because I had just like a bench just to sit on. I used to sleep on the floor, I got accustomed to the way of India lifestyle. And I used to talk to him and fight with him, and when I met him, these conversations all came up through him. But I want to take you back to when I first met him, okay? And this was the most magical, my mind can never understand it up till today. When Guruji was coming to Chidambaram, I had arranged, dinner for the whole group, and through the temple, because he was coming to the Govinda Raja Sannadhi, which is one of our 108 Divya Desams, the 108 temples of Sri Vaishnavism. And I was based there learning in that temple, and everybody was excited to meet him. Everyone. It was like a person that is coming, but nobody knows actually that, that nervousness in the air. It was like very nervous, and it wasn't bad anxiety. It was like this homecoming of something great, like we can't understand. So when Guruji finally arrived, when the car finally arrived, I think everyone can relate. I think every time the car arrives, like that car, people's inside just always, and I can always, even when Guruji comes to Vrindavan, when we know that car has stopped, it is something like you cannot explain, that butterflies. And when he came out of that car, I could see him through the window looking like this. Okay, and I just thought to myself, oh my God, be calm, behave yourself, be decent, be decent, be decent. I was thinking in my mind like this, okay? I didn't know how to behave actually, but the moment he stepped out of the car, it was like the car was parked here, Swamini and all the devotees were there around him, like in the entrance of the driveway of that hotel. It was so weird, because I've seen how people get off the buses. They don't wait in the entrance of not even in the foyer. This was happening like before you get in the hotel. And everyone was looking at this thing that was going to happen. So Guruji walks towards me, okay? And yes, I see Guruji, and I'm saying like, Namaskaram in my mind, like, Namaskaram. And it was like, there was a point where I could not see Guruji when he started coming closer and closer. I saw this beautiful kind of ball of sun or light, or I don't even know how to describe it, but the closer he got to me, the more his face disappeared. But I know something is walking bright towards me. And then I started to go towards him a little bit, and then he grabbed me and he hugged me. And then he said, no, I asked him, like, what took you so long? And then I will never forget this voice as long as I live. He says, well, I'm here now. Like the way, like I was in such a high, like of emotions, and I was crying. And the moment he touched my skin, I started crying. I could not see Guruji's face, but I started crying, and then he grabbed me and he hugged me. And he hugged me so much, like it was like my feet were off the ground, literally. It was so weird. And the way he said, I was like, oh, what took you so long? And I was meaning like, what took you so long? Like everything, right? Okay. Like with the waiting in the lobby and all of these things. And then like, I don't even know why I said it like that. And the way he just said it in such a grounded voice, well, I'm here now. And then he says, stop vibrating because you're making my whole body vibrate. And then I couldn't calm myself down. I was like breathing heavy, and it was just so, it's the first time I had a darshan, or I met a living master of that nature. I mean, I've never actually, if you look back at my life, I've met great saints and swamis, but a living master, he was my first. And he will always be. I always think to myself, if I ever take birth again, I would want to be around him only, or meet him, or be with him. So we went in the lobby and we were talking, and he suddenly like asks everyone to bring the fruits, and he was cutting the fruits and all of this. And there was Mayuran's brother, I keep forgetting his name. It's not coming to me now, but Anshu was there. Anshu was there, and he was like, for some reason, Anshu was like also like so taken away by this Bharatwaj at that time. And Guruji sat and he's speaking to me, and what do you do and everything, and he's acting like he really doesn't know anything about me. And then he says, so what is your plan? And I was going on like, because I'm meeting a living master. I mean, if I tell you my plan, it's going to get done, it's going to materialize, I'll be doing it the way I want to do it. And so he asked me like, what's your plan? And I was like, I want to do my PhD, I want to be a famous singer, I want to spread, all this Carnatic music all over the world. And if I look at how I was answering this question, it is actually shocking when you learn that fact of awareness. Because if I was aware in that time, when a living master asks you what your plan is, you should only say that my plan is your plan. And now I understand it after all these years of turmoil. I can call it turmoil because I want to talk a little bit about that part where where you become resistant to his words. And so he said, okay. And he just nodded and said, okay. And I was so happy inside. Oh yes, it's going to be fulfilled. I'm going to have Dr. Bharatwaj Theo Ram Sewak at my name. And when they introduced me on stage, I'm going to be called Dr. Ram Sewak. And it was like this whole thing in my mind. But he knew at that time I would not have understood anything, literally. So I spent a few days with him. Then he says, no, you come with me to Tirchi. So the plan was never for me to introduce him to go with him to Sri Rangam Narayana Swami. I mean, that was not really the plan. I was just going to give him the contact, and but he said, no, you come now, come with me. And then I went, and it was the most amazing experience, because I remember standing at Sri Rangam entrance of the temple, and you guys, Giridhari Ji wasn't allowed inside. You remember that story? And then everyone's like, no, I'll carry him, I'll wait outside, you go for darshan. I was like, no, I go to Sri Rangam every weekend. I'm always in Sri Rangam. I always get darshan of the Lord in Sri Rangam. So I will hold Giridhari while you also, all of them went in. But I was holding Giridhari, and it was not as if I was holding Giridhari. I was holding something alive. Guruji told me like the story about how he got Giridhari. It was Meeraji's Vigraha, and she used to do puja to it and all of this. And I think when you hear the story for the first time, and it doesn't really register you. It doesn't hit home. But when I was holding him, it didn't feel like it was just a murti. It felt beyond that, and we came out of the temple, and then I think it was Rishi Akash. Rishi Akash Ananta was there at that time, and he said, okay, I'll take Giridhari now. And then, okay, I was inside like, no, I'll take him. Like, I'm okay carrying him. And then he was like, no, I'll take him. And then he took him. And I'm like, why would I want to argue with a new person? I was like, just like thinking like this. So we walk around we do parikrama, or we call it pradakshina. We went around the whole of the Ranganath temple in Sri Rangam, and we passed the Pushkarini, the temple pond at that time. And then I said, I just said to him, I'm ready. I want to be a devotee of yours. And then he looks at the sky and he says, okay. But he didn't say yes or no, so I also left it. And this unfolded into, I don't even know where to or how to explain how it unfolded, because we met Jiyar Swami, and it was beautiful the way Jiyar Swami embraced Guruji. I've never seen a Jiyar Swami of that position for Sri Vaishnavism welcome another Swami the way he did. And he gave him this huge Satyanarayana Murti, and which was in the altar where, so what happens in Sri Rangam Math, where that was the actual math that you went to, where Ramanuja, Swami Ramanuja lives. And his puja place was there, and all those murtis that are there belong to him, or belong to the Jiyar, but they don't normally allow new murtis in that puja place where it is. So this was taken, it was kept there inside there, and he gave this murti to Guruji. But he said something in Tamil when Guruji was leaving, and he said, please don't leave me, take me with you. He knew who Guruji was. He knew who Paramahamsa Vishwananda was, and he even told me on many occasions, he said, you can go with him. Even though I had so many instructions from Jiyar Swami himself to do certain things and propagate in a certain way, but still he knew my situation in the mud and with the community, and he knew that if he was never around, it would be living hell for me to survive, let alone spread what he wanted me to spread. And I think he saw it as an opportunity to say, yes, you can, because you can do the same there. It's not different. I mean, the way he said, you can go if you want. Because if he had any other thing in his mind, he would have said, you have to do this. I gave you this instruction. But because he knew that I could do it also here. And I don't think it was even about me doing it here. I think I was just waiting for my Sadguru to arrive. And I was in the hands of Jiyar Swami at that time, and he kept me, he nurtured me, he taught me, and he groomed me into this person that I'm able to spread the word or the vibration of Sriman Narayana in music, in Divya Prabandham, in discourses, in Upanyasams. So I think when I look back at this whole journey, I never thought that I learned this all for Bhakti Marga. I just thought that I just feel inside of me that I just was being taken care of while my Sadguru was on his way. And this is one story, and I always see this in many other stories of people that Guruji literally goes to you. We hear it all the time, but I don't know, when you only experience it, then only you, because the mind is such, like I will hear so many beautiful stories from devotees, but if you haven't experienced it in some way like that, then literally it's just you hearing something, because you really can't feel the feeling that person is trying to share it with. So every time I think about this past and what led me to the feet of Guruji, it was a beautiful journey. The pain, the hurt, the beautiful moments as well. I had many beautiful moments, and it was just amazing that when I met Guruji, he was so accepting in every single way. He was beyond my imagination. He just wanted me to be me. And he gave me so many opportunities in our 4.5-year relationship that I know him, to just be me, to just choose me, to be my true self. And every time I could not see it until recently, until the 16th of June, 2020. And I think it's something to always remind ourselves, because I understand through all of this, there was something very beautiful he said when he initiated me. He said that, I said, I feel so guilty, Guruji, for being so resistant. I feel so guilty for knowing that I should have done this, but I didn't do this, and I did that instead. Because there was this intuition that was always there from the time I know who Guruji was, even before meeting him, that I knew that somehow he is a part of me. I couldn't justify it, I couldn't explain it. But if I look back now, and he was so patient, I don't think our human mind can understand his level of patience. I really, after the 16th of June, my entire understanding of me, Guruji, everything that relates to this journey has just transformed into something so different but beautiful. It's a type of, I don't want to use realization because I feel it's a very big word, but the divine experience that he has allowed me to experience, it's life-changing for me in so many ways. And then I said, Guruji, I feel so guilty, like for all these days, all these weeks, all these years, that I could not see that you were trying to show me this, because I was not ready to accept anything at that time. And it was just amazing how he waits. And I think every single devotee in Bhakti Marga, maybe not in Bhakti Marga, but everyone who has met him is going to eventually land up with him. And we constantly in the struggle all the time, and he says, no, don't feel guilty. I'm glad the way it happened. I'm glad the way how everything happened. And it showed me that he has patience to infinity. He provides everything for you to just try to realize like 1% of who you really are, your dharma, what you really are born for. And I've never seen any person or Swami or Guruji or of any nature do something like this. And that's why he is God personified in a human. Because to have that amount of patience, to provide for people who are trying, not even able to see, but are trying to see. He provides everything. The comfort that we enjoy because of Guruji. I mean, I've really been around India teaching, singing, performing, and also I have many students in lots of ashrams around India. But the type of comfort that he's provided for his devotees, you can never compare it to any living Swamiji or Guruji on this earth. It's the simple things like the AC. No, seriously, we have met our Satguru, but yet we fight why the AC is not working, We have met our Satguru, but yet we fight like, why don't we have enough tea strainers in the kitchen? Like, after the 16th of June, I could not understand the type of fighting that we are actually, like we met our Satguru. Even if we have water and we go to bed, we should get up the next morning knowing that we are with our Satguru. What could be greater than sharing this lifetime with your Satguru? And I've totally come out of that, and I'm glad he wants us to go through the process. He wants us to because we will never value it if he reveals this just like that. We would never value it. And he knows, he wants us to do something. It's not even to work hard. He just wants us to be able to treasure and value. So if we don't go through all of these things and it's just handed to us, the value is lost, because the next minute the mind will forget. The mind will start turning against you and making all sorts of things. So it's just very beautiful and divine. And I wish, my prayer is that the entire world at some point meets Guruji. I know he's met many people in many countries, but I feel that that type of understanding, and Mayuran always speaks this beautiful thing about Guruji, that people ask him, why is Guruji his Sadguru? And the answer is so simple. I mean, we experience so many things all the time, like why and how clear it is to us that he is our Sadguru. But the most important thing that he mentioned is that because Guruji knows me. And it's true. If you look at how you are with him, how you are in your life and all the things that he provides the things that he because he knows you. And it's scary for the human mind. And that's the only thing that makes us resist him so much, is because we are just scared of this divine truth, this Satchidananda, this ultimate pure truth that nobody can explain, the supreme knowledge that is not even able to comprehend by the human mind. And this is the problem that was there for me for so long, because it was so real and I could not accept it. And I don't think it's like my place to tell people how to do it, because I know that each and every one of us are here for a single aim. Our aim is to be at service to Guruji's feet and to reach God through Guruji and to realize ourselves through Guruji. So the aim is all focused on him, but how we got here and the journey and the road that we came with, or the story that we came with, it's unique in every way. Even if he meets a group of people in darshan, what led them there is amazing. And I don't understand how people are in denial for so long. Like, it is, after I became a Swami of Guruji, the moment my initiation was over, I knew I had to serve his devotees I had to serve him through his devotees. Because that for me at that time, that was the understanding that came to me. Like, I should not be thinking of myself. I should always be putting the person that serves him first. Because the destination is all the same for us. But how we go about doing it is different and beautiful. And I think for me, Guruji wants me to experience this part of seva, this part of being like this. So, I mean, there's not, you can go on speaking to Guruji, and it's beautiful to speak about Guruji to people who have met Guruji. But it's very challenging to speak about Guruji, because you have to be in a certain space in your life to understand the Sadguru and a living master. And the most beautiful thing through my 4.5 years is that I've never heard Guruji once say, my ashram, my this, my that. And many people can bail me out on this. Guruji never claims that he has this and this and this and this and this and this. He's always used just that word, like go to the ashram, use the car, buy this with that. He doesn't say, take my money and buy that. The way he is God himself. And even that thing, when people used to say Guruji is God, I used to I couldn't understand why. But now, today, I understand it fully, that it's amazing how this understanding has come. So this is just my very small introduction or talk on my experience with Guruji.